Praise God, bro.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Shouts out to everybody that has assembled here on tonight. Really do appreciate your time. On this edition, we're going to be talking about day one of Saints training camp 2023. I can't be the only person excited about this. I cannot be the only person excited about the NFL officially being back. I mean, as I'm watching different teams on the NFL Network, on social media, take the field, fans from all different teams, from all 32 of them, have this excitement, right, about the endless possibilities of what 2023 can be. You know, we talk about teams and going to the Super Bowl and being playoff contenders. It all starts on day one of training camp. This is how guys develop chemistry. This is how, teams get assembled. And unfortunately, sometimes this is how some teams seasons go up in smoke. And hopefully the New Orleans Saints won't be in that number, no pun intended. The New Orleans Saints coming into 2023, Saints fans are excited. I'm excited. The world is excited, as far as with the NFL. The New Orleans Saints have something to prove, right? They got the brand new quarterback in Carr. They brought in some guys that they felt like would actually help them, a combination of veterans as well as some of the rookies that they had in this year's draft. But we all know that you can look good, right, on paper, assembling a bunch of guys with names that we recognize, and we, in the words of Shaq, we know what their game is all about, right? We know exactly what they bring to the table. So, but it's not about that. What it's about is what you can do on the field and how you can put it together as a cohesive unit. We're going to be playing some sound bites from day one of training camp, as well as taking your phone calls in regards to day one of training camp. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Feel free to chime in. You don't have to call in. I know some people have a little bit of stage fright. It's all good. You can still contribute to the show by commenting in the chat. Also, you can donate to the State of the Saints podcast throughout the show by using the super chat link. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of these sound bites, and I'm going to go ahead and play a few of them, and it's quite a few. So I broke it down, and I got some of the main points of the individuals that spoke today. The first individual we're going to hear from is head coach Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen talked to the media for about 10 minutes, and a few topics that he discussed, were about some of the players. But the main one that caught my eye was about the roster combination and what went into them combining this roster that they have right now.
Well, look, I think when you're looking at constructing your roster, you have to have a mix of older veteran players, guys that are in that mid-level 3 through 7 years in the league, and then you need some young developmental guys. I mean, because this is a league where it's about acquiring talent and developing talent, and then hopefully being able to keep your own guys on your roster. So, I think, yes, there's a certain number of guys that we felt like, okay, here's a position that we'd like to add a veteran player to. But then there's also some positions where, we felt like we had some good veteran presence and we wanted to add a little bit of youth to to the roster. So I think there's a good mixture of both.
Yeah, I mean, so I understand what DA is talking about here, and he has a good point. I mean, when you're structuring a team, you want to have a good combination of young guys and seasoned veterans. You want to have some undrafted guys that can come into the league and maybe provide a spark. And that's worked for the New Orleans Saints over the years. I mean, we know about Deontay Harris. We know about Rashid Shaheed most recently, Pierre Thomas in years past. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, it's very important to have a good combination. And when you have young guys that are coming to the team, it's good to have seasoned veterans, guys that have been in the league. The game is slowed down for them. They can wrap their arms around those young players and help them become professionals. And also at the same time, you have the young guys out there that maybe be able to provide some nuances that maybe the veterans can learn from. So I think that's important. So, you know, I don't have any issue with that. The Saints, it seems like they're the team that seems to want to get guys that have been in the league and been around and has had battle scars, and that's cool, right? But you don't want to just completely overload your team with a bunch of guys that are veterans. I mean, they can contribute, and they probably contribute this season. But, you know, as time goes on, you know, you start to have a little wear and tear on your body and everything like that, and it's hard for those guys to hold up. So you want to have those young guys that are out there that can be able to come in there and develop and give you what you need. And not to mention, you can actually have these guys on your roster for 3 and 4 years that can help you with the cap if you develop them in the right way. Dennis Allen also talked about a competition that, well, not a competition, but he talked about an individual that's a part of a competition that we all are looking forward to, and that's the cornerback number 2 competition. I mean, number 1, we already know is Marshawn Lattimore. Lattimore been locking it down since 2017. He is the number 1 cornerback. I ain't trying to hear nothing nobody else trying to say about Marshawn Lattimore. You got some haters out there, man. Forget y'all. Y'all know that this dude is the truth. So it's all about number 2. Who is going to be number 2? Is it going to be Paulson Adebo, or is it going to be Alontae Taylor? This has been the conversation. This has been the topic of conversation on Saints Twitter. Has been a conversation on many podcasts that cover the Saints. But DA actually talked about Paulson Adebo and some of the things that he sees in him and some things that he feels like Adebo needs to work on.
Yeah, I think Paulson's done a really good job for us. I think he's played really well. I think we got to work with him a little bit at some of the transitions at the top of the route, some of the balls down the field. I think those are areas that he needs to improve on. He's smart, he's tough, and he's a good worker. You know, so he's got the skill set, he's got the qualities that we look for. There's a couple technique things that we need to get better at, particularly at the top of the route and playing the ball down the field.
I tell people this is a win-win situation for the New Orleans Saints. If you've been following the Saints for the last decade, you already know that the cornerback position was an issue every single year. The Saints would bring in somebody that we felt like would be able to cover a wide receiver, and they'll get smoked like brisket, burned like a biscuit, time after time after time after time. And we became so frustrated as the members of the Who Dat Nation. We were just hoping to find somebody that can be able to bring some stability. And quite honestly, the cornerback position has been one of the bright spots of the team. And when you add in guys like, you know, Paulson Adebo, who had a really good, solid rookie season, kind of took a step back his sophomore season. He was dealing with some injuries. And then you have a guy like Alontae Taylor who comes in that's very sure of himself, that has a level of confidence, that has that alpha dog mentality. It's a win-win situation, because it's not like if one of these guys beat out the other one is not going to play. No. Both of these guys are going to play. And we also understand the concerns that we had when it came to depth with guys on the outside. You remember the times where, you know, the New Orleans Saints will actually have, they'll have Jabari Greer on one side, Tracy Porter on the other. Tracy Porter goes down, in comes Usama Young, who played in the slot. Then all of a sudden, Usama Young getting smoked. Or, you know, like PJ Williams, you know, no disrespect to him. You know what I'm saying? PJ has earned my respect over the years, but we know when it comes to him playing on the outside throughout the years, he was a liability. So you actually have two guys that can play both the inside and the outside. And you have to give credit where credit is due to the New Orleans Saints staff, because they are learning from the mistakes that they have done in years past, relying on one guy to be the outside guy and the other guy to be in the slot, not teaching the guy in the slot to maybe transition to the outside just in case somebody that is their starter on the outside goes down, right? So you have both of these guys that were playing on the inside and outside throughout the offseason activities. So it's going to pay dividends for the New Orleans Saints, and it's going to pay dividends for both guys, because we know the cornerback position, you can go from having a bunch of guys in the locker room, right, ready to rock and roll, and then all of a sudden you have Lattimore go down, and then all of a sudden Roby goes down. Then all of a sudden you got Paulson Adebo dealing with an ankle injury. So you go from having three guys that are stable in your secondary. Now you're concerned and wondering, can you get something out of some of these other guys that haven't proven anything and maybe a little bit wide-eyed at the point? So having these two guys compete against one another, and I think that all Saints fans, whether you're looking at Alontae Taylor to take that spot or Paulson Adebo, I think we're all in agreement when it comes to this. Both guys have what it takes to be a solid number two. And that's a plus. And that is, man, that is amazing based on how years past were when it came to the secondary. Also, you know, DA had a little fun with the media as well, talked a little bit about taking a part in some of the conditioning tests after practice and running alongside the team.
Yeah, I got challenged. So let's go. Let's compete. So I ran them and did better than some of them. Just so you know.
Who challenged you? Who challenged you?
Lattimore.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ran right next to him.
Did you beat him?
No. We'd have had a problem if I'd have beaten him.
So DA showing a little bit of his personality, having a little fun with the media, but that's what it's all about, man. Day one of training camp, we're going to be talking about that. But before we get into some sound bites about team captain Cam Jordan, I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments. And once again, thank you for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And shouts out to everybody that subscribed, man. You know, we had an influx of subscribers on today, you know, and I appreciate that. I think we're now like 100 subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers. And look, I really do appreciate everybody that ever hit that subscription button and ever hit that like button. And I'm asking you to do that tonight if you have not. Okay, if you have not subscribed to the channel, if you have not hit the like button on this episode, I'm asking that you do so at this time. And you will make this show much, much better. And I appreciate everybody's efforts. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments. I'm strolling up right now, and once again, I apologize if I'm not looking directly at the camera. I'm looking down at my laptop so I can be able to read some of your comments, and appreciate you all for chiming in. Says, I know we're excited, but keep it clean. I don't know exactly who's out here, you know, going a little bit crazy, but yeah, this is a pretty PG show. We'll let a few go every now and then, but not anything too crazy. Let's see who that Mikey Mickey was that Mikey or Mickey? Mikey, Saints fans for life. Let's get it, baby. Let's see who that pulled my finger. I don't know exactly what the heck that's about. Let's see who that to Jason. Shouts out to Jason. Who that to you, man? Let's see, TJ, I need one of them hats. Well, as soon as I get like a constant, like, you know, I guess like a manufacturer that actually can produce the hats consistently, then I definitely have that. And also with shirts and stuff like that. I'm always looking for like companies that I can collab with in order to, you know, create shirts and stuff like that. And, you know, and provide that for individuals. But hopefully we'll get to a point where, you know, people are actually more consistent when it comes to buying the shirts. You know, you got people out there that support the show. A few will buy, you know, and purchase shirts and stuff like that. But we not on that level just yet. All right. So we working on it. But in the meantime, you know, I just appreciate the support. Says, what up, TJ? The host is in the building. Hey, what's going on, Dwayne? Appreciate you for being here, man. Thank you for showing up to the show tonight live. Dana says, I wouldn't have it any other way. I guess we're referring to the fact of the competition between Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor. I wouldn't have it any other way as well. I mean, it's much better than wondering who or who is going to give you consistent cornerback play at all, right? I mean, it's an amazing feeling to actually have some stability at that position when it came from what we saw in years past. Let's see. I'm skeptical until proven wrong. I saw many deficiencies in coaching last year. There were times they couldn't get a first down from the entire quarter, and Taysom Hill seating on the bench. Yeah, I agree with that, Faust. I agree with what you're saying on that, because here's the thing. I think a lot of Saints fans understand that this is a really good team structure that we have right here. And that's one of the reasons why we're so excited. We're excited because we understand that this team has the capability of making a run with the combination of guys coming back and the guys that they have that have proven themselves in the league, not to mention a schedule that's relatively simplistic in the eyes of the prognosticators and onlookers and even the schedule makers, right? When we look at all of those nuances, we get excited, right? But the one common denominator is Dennis Allen. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it with anybody. And I'm not here to instill confidence in anybody, right? That's not my job. I'm just here to tell you what's up. The dude is not good as a head coach. He has not proven that he can be successful as a head coach. Now, can he change my mind by going out there, winning double-digit games, winning the division, putting this team in the right position to be there in the end? Absolutely. But I only can go by what I see right now, right? It's about what have you done for me lately? In the words of Bobby Hebert, what he has done is not a damn thing. And that's the reason why people are like, I don't know about this. I mean, the team looks good, but I don't know about Dennis Allen. So Dennis Allen has to be able to get the best out of these players, and he has to coach the hell out of these guys in order to instill this level of confidence. The positivity that we have as Saints fans is that this team is structured well, and you have a good combination of really good young up-and-coming talent and seasoned veterans to help them steer them in the right direction. That is the positive that we have. But when it comes to the negative, that's something that is like a dark cloud that is hovering over this team, is the inability to be a successful head coach when it comes to Dennis Allen. And it's just the truth. I'm not here to pick on Dennis Allen or keep on like beating a dead horse here or beating the drum over and over again, but it's reality. The reality is Dennis Allen has not instilled confidence in any Saints fan. If you have confidence in Dennis Allen, it's probably just because you like the guy. Defensively, I mean, if you're talking about defense, I trust this dude, right? I mean, look, I trust him more than most coaches in the league if we're talking about defense. But to lead a team to where they need to be is yet to be seen. So I can understand the skepticism. I really can. All right, we're going to move on and talk a little bit about Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan going into year number 13, and I'm excited about it. Look, everybody knows how I feel about Cam Jordan. I wrote a article about Cam Jordan a couple months back, gumbopodsports.com. Check it out. I look at this guy as one of the all-time greats, right? Not just for the Saints, but NFL in general. I mean, he was a part of the all-decade team, over 100 sacks throughout his career. And if you look at where Cam Jordan came from out of University of Cal, and the fact that he wasn't known as a pass rusher when he was coming out of college, more of a run stopper, and now he is the cornerstone of this team, the undisputed leader, and now going into his 13th year, you got to be looking forward to seeing what number 94 can do. But, he talked a little bit about being in year 13 going into it, and how does he feel after 13 seasons in the National Football League? Wow.
I keep saying, I was like, I want to play till year 15. I already said, when I was younger, I was like, year 10 is the goal. I got to make it to year 10. Year 10. I made it to year 10. I was like, all right, well, now I check in at year 12. And I checked in last year, and I was like, dang, I ain't never gone into an offseason feeling this good. And so now, we head into year 13. I'll check in 15 again. We'll see where we go from there.
So, I mean, look, he says he wants to play for 15 years, and I think it's attainable because Cam Jordan has never had an injury. Like the only game that he missed in his entire career, if I'm not mistaken, was because of COVID, right? I mean, so the thing about it is the fact that he has been able to play in every single game, appear in every single game throughout his career, I think is attainable because he's never had a serious injury in 13 years. And I think that's one of the main reasons why he has been able to have the career that he's had. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think that, and I'm not even saying this because I'm a homer, I already think he established himself enough to be a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, something else has to happen, and he talked a little bit about that, and I'm talking about a Super Bowl championship. You know, that will add on to it because it makes his resume even more appealing. But hey, I mean, we all know that Cam Jordan is one heck of a player. He also talked a little bit about being a mentor, man, mentoring some of these young guys coming in, Isaiah Foskey, Brian Bresee. You know, you got Colin Sanders. He's a young guy, you know, coming in from Kansas City off a championship season with them. So, I mean, he is the leader of this team on the defense, and he spoke a little bit about that.
It's been the same role I've had since year 3 with that huge overturn when Will Smith left, with Jonathan Vilma left, when Jeff Charleston left, when, you know, all the, you know, Big Rogers left, Sean, Big Abreu, Broderick, all these guys left. So I've been in that same role for the last 10 years. It's one I only know. The young guys come in, I tell them, you know, what we do, how we do. I try and cultivate. They bring in new things. I learn from them. They learn from me. We keep it pushing. We try and be the best D-line we can be.
Yeah, and I noticed that I didn't upload the soundbite that I was talking about. Cam Jordan talking about going to the Super Bowl. He wants to go to Las Vegas and bring Derek Carr back there. But that is the thing that I feel like would be the cherry on top of his already well-established, wonderful, incredible resume and incredible career. I think that would be the cherry on top for him to make it a no-brainer that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But the one thing about Cam Jordan that I feel like, you know, makes him not only a Hall of Famer as a player, but a Hall of Famer in my book as a human being, is the fact that he doesn't let outside distractions, you know, stop him from achieving his goal and being the absolute best. Now, we all know that Cam Jordan is dealing with a contract situation. We've seen these type of things happen all the time where guys get disgruntled, they don't show up, they phone it in some cases. But Cam Jordan is still out there, and listen to what he said when it comes to his contract situation.
I don't know. I'll let you, Mickey, and my agent figure that one out. Me, a contract for the next 2 years, contract for the next 7 years isn't going to affect the way I play, practice, or take the field.
I mean, what a leader. You know, like the fact is he's still focused on being a team guy, being a leader of the team, and not letting outside distractions bother him. Now, I'm not saying that some guys don't need to stand up for themselves when it comes to contractual situations. But all I'm saying is a guy like this who has done it all, who has been available, who has been a leader, who has been a humanitarian in a community, you know, around a facility, everybody loves him. I mean, the fact is, a guy like this shouldn't be waiting for money, right? But the thing about it is he's not allowing that to distract him from his overall goal. So shouts out to Cam Jordan, man. That's the reason why I have so much respect for the guy. And that's the reason why I feel like the Saints would be absolutely insane not to allow him to retire in the black and gold. And so, I mean, the way that Cam Jordan is built, you don't really see that. You don't really see that, especially at the defensive end position. Like guys that are available, always around, never hurt, always available for whatever you need. I mean, that alone, in my opinion, and not to mention, he's still the best on the line. None of the young guys have been able to dethrone him. No matter who the New Orleans Saints bring in, they draft a 6'6", 6'7" guy with long wingspan. Nobody has been able to dethrone number 94. So that alone, I feel like, is the reason why I feel like Cam Jordan should retire as a New Orleans Saint. Let's see. Mikey, Saints fan for life. Time to go to Vegas. I hope so. Glad to see you been missing your quality podcast. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back, man. Still trying to get into the flow of things. Still trying to get into it, but I think we got a good hand on it. Says football, Cam passion, the money second. Well, look, I ain't saying guys don't need to get paid, Lucas, but I don't feel like guys should just, completely just be distractions about it. Now, if a team is just mad disrespectful to you, I can understand why guys are getting upset. But when you feel like, things have a way of playing themselves out and you have the confidence of the team and the team has the confidence in you and your representation, I think that it makes things go smoothly. And I really feel like the Saints are probably going to come to Cam Jordan with a 2, maybe 3-year contract, probably going to be the final contract that he signs in his career, and they're going to allow him to retire as a Saint. I would be shocked if Cam Jordan is playing in another team's uniform next year. Now, the only reason I would say that and the only reason I would want that if the New Orleans Saints just look like they're going to be rebuilding because they just had an awful season, a stinker of a season, then I would feel like Cam Jordan needs to go somewhere else, maybe like a team like the Bengals or the Chiefs that's always in Super Bowl contention, and he can go and finish his career out there and maybe end up with a ring with another team. But I'm pretty sure that Cam wants to, well, I'm not pretty sure. I know Cam Jordan wants to win a Super Bowl for the New Orleans Saints, as much work as he put in that black and gold uniform. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Cam Jordan can do this season, and I hope that they can go ahead and get this contract situation resolved by the season because he deserves it. Let's see. Right now, is Cam a first-time Hall of Fame ballot? In my opinion, yeah. In my opinion, I think that he is. Cam is the man of the year on the team. Yeah. Look, Linda, I feel like he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, you think about this. J.J. Watt, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I think everybody in the chat, and if you're probably watching this right now, you're probably nodding your head like, man, of course. Is Von Miller a first ballot Hall of Famer? Of course. I mean, if you look at Cam Jordan has more sacks than J.J. Watt throughout his career, right? He has multi Pro Bowls. I mean, I know Pro Bowl is kind of watered down and nobody cares, but still, I mean, he has had all pros. He's a part of the all-decade team. And honestly, the way that Von Miller's career is going with the injuries that he's been sustained over the last couple of years and Cam Jordan's career, I think that he's going to pass him up and he'll become that all-time leader of sacks of out of his draft class, which is 2011. All 3 guys that I mentioned came into the league in 2011. So the way I look at it, like, yes, he is a first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't think that I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, somebody need to get their vote taken away from him because this dude definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Dalton says Cam Jordan and Demario Davis are Saints leaders. I mean, you can throw Tyrann Mathieu in there as well. You can throw in, Eric McCoy. He's emerging as a leader as well. And so is Alvin. Like that's the thing about it. These guys are emerging as leaders. But, yeah, Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, I think those are the 2 guys that you look at and be like, man, those are the leaders of the team. No doubt about that. And finally, we're going to move on to the Saints' new starting quarterback, Derek Carr. Derek Carr going into his first training camp with the New Orleans Saints in 2023. Saints fans are excited to see what number 4 can actually do. He's saying all the right things, doing all the right things, putting in the work, and we have a respect for Derek Carr. Well, I do. I can't speak for everybody out there. Some people are probably upset about how he came to New Orleans and who he's replacing. That's another story for another day. But Derek Carr is the starting quarterback of the Saints. And he spoke a little bit about, let me go to him feeling like he's a part of the team now.
Now I just feel like a part of the family, At first, my daughter was running out there today after practice, and she's like, touchdown Raiders. I was like, no, don't say that anymore, So it was still new, it's new for them, obviously. But to me, it just feels like home now. This is my home. I'm going to give New Orleans everything that I have, and that's physically, mentally, in the community. Anything that I can do to help somebody and help us win and bring excitement to the city and help encourage some people in the city, I'm going to do it. And I've set out to do that in Vegas. I'm still doing that in Vegas because I said I would. I'm still working on things there. I'm going to do it here because I said I would. And so I'm going to do everything that I can. But I'm not going to try and help them win. I'm going to try and help us win.
So Derek Carr is excited about it, feeling like he's a part of the team, playing for a team for 9 seasons. And, all of a sudden, like, you're not a part of the team decides they didn't want to move on. And now you're kind of picking up the pieces. I'm pretty sure, Derek Carr took a shot to his pride. The fact that a team drafted you in the second round, I want to say 2014, you became like the starting quarterback, the leader of the team. And then all of a sudden, like, they decided that they wanted to go in a different direction, and not just any direction. Like, they replace you with Jarrett Stidham. I mean, that's just disrespectful in all types of ways, right? No disrespect to Stid the kid, but Stidham ain't ready, for prime time. I mean, he's always just going to be a backup. So the fact that the Raiders felt like Jarrett Stidham will provide more of a spark than him, I think that's just probably the lowest of the low. But I do feel like this, and this could be a controversial take, but I mean, this is just the way that I feel. I feel like Derek Carr is too emotional still about his exit in Las Vegas. I mean, I could be wrong, but every time I listen to his interviews, he always talks about the Raiders and how they left and how, like, he moving on and how things are different and how he ain't with the Raiders anymore. Like, it's almost to me like a guy who is still coming to grips with a breakup, right? You're not with the team anymore, and the team has really pretty much shown you that they want to go in a different direction. So they decided to send you home. So if that ain't the biggest Stone Cold Steve Austin 2 middle fingers that I've ever seen, I don't know what is. So I just think that he's not really fully over it. Now, you can look at this 2 ways, right? You can look at it like he's so emotionally he's so emotional about his exit that he's not going to be able to produce because it's in the back of his mind like they didn't want me. Or number 2, he can use that as fuel and it can come out in a positive way and he just dominates, right? This isn't like with Matthew Stafford, right? Matthew Stafford wanted to lead the Detroit Lions. It wasn't like Detroit wanted him to leave and it was like, man, you know what, Matt? You've been here about 11, 12 years, man, can't get it done. We gonna go in a different direction. It wasn't like that. He went to the Ford family and was like, I would like to be traded, and they sent him to the Rams and he won a Super Bowl. It wasn't that way with Derek Carr. So to me, I just feel like, in a way, I don't feel like he's fully over what happened. I don't think you probably ever get over it, but at the end of the day, you have to. Right? You have to, in order for you to be able to embrace the moment. It's one thing about just saying the right things. It's also about doing the right things. And I think he's doing all the right things. But if you were to ask me, is Derek Carr fully over his time with Las Vegas? I would say absolutely not, because he can't, like, for every interview that I've seen, he brings up the Raiders and not just like in ways where some a member of the media asks you about that, right? It's in a way like he just adds a Las Vegas Raiders story to the situation. Now, I know you can look at it this way too. That's the only team and that's the only situation he's been in, so he's using it as examples. But I just feel like he has this level of bitterness about him, and sometimes when people have that bitterness, it can fester up inside of you and it can make you second guess yourself. So I could be wrong, but that's just what I see. That's just what I see. I just hope that it doesn't affect him, psychologically to a point where, he starts to like second guess and, think about, oh man, they didn't want me, I'm gonna show them. I mean, use that as fuel, of course, because I mean, some people really perform well with a chip on their shoulder, but don't let it just be to a point where it just consumes you because maybe it was like one of the first times, somebody basically told you they ain't want you, or, they no longer needed you anymore. And maybe that's something he's coming to grips with. Some people handle things in their own way. But let's go ahead and move on. Also with Derek Carr coming to the New Orleans Saints, you have to understand that it's a new offense. Now, even though some of some of the plays that the New Orleans Saints run, a West Coast offense, Derek Carr coming from the Raiders who ran a West Coast offense, he's kind of familiar with it. Of course, the verbiage is completely different based on the team, but he talked a little bit about understanding the offense and being a little bit more comfortable now with a few training camps and all-season activities. Well, not training camps, but all-season activities under his belt.
I just want to compete now. I feel, it's not a new language now. It's my language. It's our language. And so, to me, I'm just trying to, be that leader, be that, quarterback position to, show the guys that they can look to me when they're tired. They can look to me when it's hard, and they can, even if I screw it up, they can still look to me, and just build that camaraderie and that leadership within our team. To know that that trust and respect is mutual with everybody, and compete. That's what we're here to do. We're here to compete. We're here to beat the defense every day until we get to play somebody else. And if hopefully they don't get us, but if they do, we come back the next day and we get them again. So just that mentality to not stop is really, I would say, probably the main goal for all of us as an offense, and reps together. The more reps that we can get with everybody in that huddle, the better I think that we could be.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at Derek Carr understanding the offense, and that's a plus. Being familiar with it, that's important. But also, it's important for you to be able to have a level of chemistry with the weapons around you, like guys like Alvin Kamara, like Michael Thomas, like Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson. I mean, the list goes on and on. You want to develop chemistry with these guys, and you can have all this talent around you, but if you can't be on the same page, it's not going to be efficient offensively. Now, I expect for the New Orleans Saints to be better than they were last year. Last year, the offense was looking like watching paint dry. I mean, it was pathetic, absolutely 100% pathetic watching this team, and it was even more pathetic watching the post game after some of these games when you know for a fact that this offense didn't have what it takes to convert anything, right? I mean, it was just absolutely sad. And I say this all the time. If you weren't a Saints fan, you probably wouldn't be watching the Saints, right? I mean, the Saints were a boring football team last year, absolutely boring. And you definitely wanted to be able to generate some excitement and put some points on the board, right? No, don't let points come few and far in between. So it starts with understanding the playbook and also being able to develop chemistry. Also, Derek Carr, once again, he was the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? I mean, and with that, if you are in the league for an extended amount of time and you're playing at a relatively high level, you become a captain, and people start to lean on you, and they start to ask you questions, and they start to, try to pick your brain, and they look to you in crucial situations for guidance and also a little bit of confidence that they can actually win the football game. And Derek Carr talked a little bit about being a leader and not feeling the pressure as he did with the Raiders to lead.
This is my first time stepping into a new, organization, right? And so for me, I just was going to walk in and I was just going to be myself, this is me. This is, what Mickey asked me to be, he's not asking me to be anything I'm not. Mickey, when he asked me, and DA asked me to be here, they said, we want you to come here and be you. That's all I've done. And it was an easy fit because I don't feel like I have to be the leader or I have to pull everybody. Like, it's not that. We got Cam, we got Tyron, we got DeMario, we got Mike, we got Alvin. Everyone's saying doing the right things. Eric, we got so many guys doing and saying the right things that, we're all doing it together. And one of the things that I thought was cool, I asked Cam, about I said, hey, you're one of the leaders on the team. How do you feel if I come there? Like, that was one of the questions I asked Cam, before I signed here. I was like, 'cause I want to walk into a locker room where I'm wanted, and he said, one of the very first thing he said, I'm not the leader. He said, we got a team full of leaders. And I was like, right when he said that, I forgot what the rest of the message said. He may not even wanted me, but you know, when I saw that, I was like, I'm coming here, because he sees it the same way I do. It's like, it's going to take all of us to lead. And so I'm not trying to be the guy. I'm just trying to be one of the guys and be one of the guys doing it the right way.
Yeah, so I mean, not feeling that pressure that you once did to be able to be that guy who everybody just looks to, I think that kind of alleviates some of the pressure that you have, and you can just go out there and play a little bit loose. I mean, of course, I feel Derek Carr is still going to be one of the captains, of course. I mean, he has leadership qualities, and I mean, it's pretty obvious, and he's a pretty likable guy. I mean, everything that he says, I mean, it's kind of hard not to like the guy. And even like some of the Raider fans that come on the show that are in the chat, they speak so highly of him. So, I mean, we know that more than likely he's going to be a captain, but not being, you know, the guy, I think it can kind of help you be able to play a little bit loose. And also guys that have been in the league as longer than you, you can look to for that particular guidance. But I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments. Then I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'll probably take about 2 or 3 calls, and then we're going to go ahead and, you know, call it a show. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments here. Let me see. I'm in a good mood, and you're trying to kill it. Don't kill my vibe. What? Okay, so I don't know exactly what's going on here. I think I see it's a little bit of friction in the chat. Look, y'all play nice. All right. Y'all play nice in the chat. Everybody, you know, is entitled to their opinion. We're not going to always agree with everything each other say, but let's just respect one another's opinion. And, you know, let's just go from there. All right. If we all were supposed to think the same, I mean, the world would be a pretty boring place. Probably about as boring as the Saints offense was in 2022. Let's see. I actually did get more housework done last season. Hey, you ain't lying. If I didn't do this podcast, I'm telling you, I would have been out cutting the grass. I probably would have been working on my backhand or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like swinging a golf club or something, because that was pathetic. That was pathetic. I don't want to see that anymore. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to see it anymore as well. But I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat here. Like I said, I could take about two, maybe 3 phone calls, and I'm going to go ahead and end the show with that. But I want to hear what you all think about training camp. What do you feel about the team? What are your emotions after day 1 of training camp? In the meantime, I mean, some video footage that I saw, I'm pretty sure a lot of you saw, you know, it was Alvin Kamara looking really explosive. You see Mike T was a full participant. Kendre Miller, the rookie out of TCU, who was dealing with some injuries. He was out there participating. They had 90 guys on the roster, and I want to say he's for the exception of Anthony Johnson, according to Dennis Allen, was the only guy that wasn't able to participate in any way. So it's off to a good start. You know, not having a bunch of guys in the tub. You know, everybody is out there competing, contributing, trying to make the squad. Should be interesting and make for better competition, and make guys want it a little bit more when you're going up against guys that want it just as much as you. But let me go ahead. Let me go to Mike. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
All right, man. What you got for us?
Well, I saw some clips today about our team running routes and, you know, doing all that. And I have to say, I know this is training camp and they're not like playing like actual teams,
Right.
but this team impressed me, you know, because we obviously are trying to bounce back from last season and how you do, because I don't know how many times last year somebody, it won't be me because I actually have a life, but to somebody who may not have a life, you can literally make a compilation video. It could be 20 minutes long of me raging about this team. That's how last season was. So if one of y'all want to do that, be my guest. But how you bounce back? You got a better quarterback. You get some good running backs in case your star running back goes bye-bye.
Right.
You get some good receivers to help out your number 1 guy in case he gets hurt again.
Right.
You get some tight ends. you get some good offensive linemen, and you get some good defensive pieces. And I feel like the Saints have done that. You know, we improve. You know, from Andy Dalton to Derek Carr.
Right.
You know, you bring in Jamal Williams. Michael Thomas is looking 100% healthy.
Right.
You know, hopefully we can have you for the entire season, but at least enough where we can win some games to try to get us into the playoffs. Because every year as a Saints fan, obviously, you know, if you're not a ride or die Saints fan, you don't know the pain, right? Because it's one thing being a Chiefs fan. It's one thing being a Bengals fan, being a Eagles fan, where you always know that you're going to have hope. But for a Saints fan, every year of me watching the Saints, and I know it hasn't been much, but we've had some good years and we have some terrible years. Derek Carr, I feel like, is a guy who I wanted on this team. I'm not going to lie. I wanted Derek Carr on the Saints so bad last season. I'm not going to lie. Because obviously I was watching Saints games, but I was watching some Raiders games, and people were like, Derek Carr was the reason that they were losing, which is 100% not true. You know, because if anything, he's the reason why they were even in games, right?
Right.
The defense is terrible. So, and this is the best defense that Derek Carr's ever had to work with, right?
Right.
And some people are like, why don't you just rebuild? There's a thing called I don't want to rebuild. Okay? All right.
Well, and not to mention, I mean, a rebuild is an indication that you just basically then gave up, you know?
I know.
And Mike, is also a guarantee. Like, even if you do rebuild, it's not a guarantee that you're going to end up being in a better position than what you would be if you tried to go out here and have a combination of players using the cap and bringing in some veterans and some rookies. I mean, it's not a guarantee. There's no such thing as a sure thing. That includes guys who come out of college and everybody just expect to be the future and the face of the franchise. I mean,
look at the Raiders. They tanked for Jamarcus Russell. Ask them how that went out.
Ask about Jamarcus Russell. I mean, even though he was pretty good, Andrew Luck with the Colts. You know, I mean, they just got Anthony Richardson, right? They just got the guy they feel like could be able to replace Andrew Luck, right?
The Jets tanked for Trevor Lawrence and they got Zach Wilson. So
yeah, exactly.
Rebuilding ain't always perfect, all right?
It ain't always perfect. So you got to be careful what you wish for on there, right? Yeah.
That's why every single time somebody tells me, why don't you just rebuild? First of all, there's some probably older Saints fans that want to win a Super Bowl before their time's up, right? Well, that's one. Two, that basically means you don't have that dog in you, as words of Jamal Williams. But this team, right? This team, I can't imagine us rebuilding, because rebuilding means you're going to lose guys like Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Derek Carr,
right,
James Winston, Alvin Kamara. That means you're going to lose all of your great players. And I know the Texans did that by getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson. I don't want to do that, right? You saw that turned out. They were taking him for Bryce Young. They did not get Bryce Young. All right, so some teams, like, I admire some teams for rebuilding that actually worked out. For example, the Bengals, they changed for Joe Burrow, and hey, now they're in the Super Bowl race, right? But it's not all. As a wise person once told me, the grass ain't always greener on the other side.
Right.
And I want my grass super green with a couple rings on that grass.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But we ain't going to get that through a rebuild.
No,
trust me.
You're not.
I might have not been watching football for all those years back in the 80s or whatever, but I've seen some terrible football teams. I ain't trying to get a heart attack.
All right.
Through a rebuilding franchise.
Well, lucky for you, you wasn't alive during the time when the Saints were just absolutely embarrassing, like just horrible. Like it just, I mean, it was like a car wreck every single week. Like it was just hard to just watch. I mean, so we don't want to go back to those times, and hopefully they don't have to, you know, like so. But It all depends on what they can bring to the table this season. If not, then we probably have to end up looking at a rebuild because we know that more than likely Dennis Allen won't be back, and a lot of these other guys won't be back either because you will have to bring in a coach. They want to bring in his guys, and of course, he probably want to do things his way. So they're gonna have to produce, man, because if they don't, it's gonna be pretty tough. Some tough years for the New Orleans Saints between how the salary cap is constructed, and also just some of the things that they've done over the years to kind of kick the can down the road. But yeah. Mike, I gotta go ahead and let you go, man. But I appreciate your comments. Feel free to call back anytime, man. Appreciate it. All right, take care, man. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, shouts out to Mike, man. He right, though. He's right. I mean, the grass ain't always greener for all those people out there that's lobbying for a rebuild. Like, I don't understand that. Now, I am a firm believer that I feel like teams are built through the draft, like developing players and getting them, for those 3-4 years on those rookie deals. But to just completely just blow it up, it is not a guarantee that it's going to work out. It's not a guarantee that is going to be the way, the way that you think that is going to be. Let's see, 67 miles northeast of Shreveport, 3 miles south, Arkansas border. Okay. Are you driving right now? Let's see, who that family to what's going on, Chosen? I seen that. It says Jared TJ said play nice. Speaking of which, man, I'm about to go to the OG right now, Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, man. Thank you for chiming in. What you got for us tonight?
I'll be nice tonight. I just want to say to these Tre'Quan Smith lovers out here, this guy is not going to make the team. Because I'm gonna tell you this: you're almost about to get timed out by me, but I didn't do it. So
I'm just dropping bombs, man.
I know you're dropping bombs because I'm speaking truth. Now you know how much I love y'all. But Tre'Quan Smith, your favorite wide receiver, is not going to make this team. Because come cut day, he gonna be gone.
Oh man. Look. Hold on. I gotta ask you this, Jerry. I gotta ask you this. What is your deal with Tre'Quan Smith? I gotta ask you, man, because it seems like you about to throw like a Zulu parade to then get cut. Like what are your thoughts on Tre'Quan Smith, man? What's going on?
TJ, every time I go to a live stream, they always talk about Tre'Quan Smith season loading. Tre'Quan Smith season loading. I mean, what has this man done since he's been with this team? He ain't do nothing but block. Yeah. And you're gonna give this man knock it off. Man, miss me with that. Miss me with that.
Hey,
TJ, I love you, man, but I had to spit it out, bro.
Hey, look, I do feel that Tre'Quan Smith has left a lot to be desired. I think people had this idea of what Tre'Quan was supposed to be, and he never just ended up being that. But here's the thing. There's still a place for Tre'Quan Smith in the National Football League. He just like when you understand your role, man, right? You know what I'm saying? When you understand, like there was this player back in the day who played for the Detroit Pistons. I think he was like the second overall pick. His name was Darko Milicic, right? And they drafted Darko Milicic with the second pick in the NBA draft. And they just was like, man, Darko, he coming. Darko loading up. Darko, and all of a sudden, he never panned out to be what they wanted him to be. But when it came to the NBA Finals, when they won, Darko got some playing time, and he still was like, a fan favorite or whatever, because people understood that he is not going to be our superstar like we thought he was going to be. He is that guy. When it comes to Tre'Quan Smith, now that we know that he won't be a number 2 receiver, maybe not even a number 3, He's
He ain't
still,
gonna be a number one nothing because look, and I'll tell you this why. I tell you why, TJ. But look at all these wide receivers you got. You got Michael Thomas, you got Chris Olave, you got Rashid Shaheed, you got A.T. Perry, you got James Washington, you got Brian Edwards, and these other receivers.
Right.
This man is not going to make the squad. You got almost 10 receivers on this team, bro. And Tre'Quan Smith is not going to be the one to make this squad. And that's what I'm trying to tell these Tre'Quan Smith bootlickers on here. I love y'all. I love y'all, but I have to speak the truth. Because that man is not going to be here. And and come cut day, y'all gonna thank me for this. All y'all gonna thank me for this. Because y'all been riding like Tre'Quan Smith, he's special or something. He ain't gonna be here that long. And no, I ain't lying either. Because when he get cut, y'all gonna thank me later.
Oh my goodness, man! Drop water clue.
That's all I got, TJ. I just wanted to throw that little rant up in there because
God
help him.
And man says Tre'Quan Smith bootlickers. But look, but seriously, I think it is. I agree with you. It is going to be hard for him to make the team. You can't just be out there just blocking and doing that and just think that you about to make the squad. But like I said, I still feel like there's a place for him. I think that even if he was to get cut, somebody will pick him up. Somebody will pick him up. And but I just think at this particular point, what the Saints are looking for, I think what you've seen from Tre'Quan Smith is what you're gonna get. Luckily for him, there's a coach that used to coach the Saints that's coaching right now by the name of Sean Payton. Now he already got his boy Callaway out there, so who's to say? And we know that Sean Payton loved himself some Tre'Quan Smith, so maybe he can go
to Denver for all I care. He can go to Denver.
Yeah, but eventually, like I said, man, I do agree with you. It's gonna be an uphill battle for number 10 to be able to make this squad, man. But you got anything else for it, Jerry?
No, only thing I can say is day one was training camp was good. Good to see Jimmy Graham out there again. Good to see Michael Thomas out there again. I mean, I'm just ready for the real deal to start. I'm just ready for football season to start.
Right,
for real.
Exactly, man. I mean, everybody's excited about it. I mean, everybody I talk to, man. I mean, shouts out to my friends. Cover the Dallas Cowboys. I was talking to her, like going back and forth. Like they're out there in Oxnard. And she was talking about like this gonna be their year, like they always do. I mean, but it's just like everybody has like this excitement because everybody's 0-0 right now. And no matter how trash your team was or any shortcomings that you had, you can resurrect them by having a good solid season. And once again, like I said at the top of the show, it starts with training camp, man. No doubt about that. But Jared, thank you. But Jared, thank you, man. Appreciate you for chiming in. Thank you for being as entertaining as always, man. But you got anything else before I let you go?
No, TJ, that's all I got, man. I'm gone. Y'all have a good night. I'm gone.
All right, man. You take it easy, man. Take care, Jared.
All right, you too, man.
All right. Hey, Jared, let's drop one of clues mine from my boy Jared. My man said Tre'Quan Smith bootlickers. I'm sorry, man. That was funny. But nah, it's gonna be hard for Tre'Quan. It's gonna be hard for Trey Day to make this team, man. And we're gonna go ahead and we'll end the night. We're gonna hear from Chosen. Chosen, how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Hey, look, I just want to piggyback. Piggyback on Jerry, man. Look, if we know Tre'Quan finna go, if this Tre'Quan last season, I could say Tre'Quan will forever be indeed in our hearts. Drew Brees passing record went to Tre'Quan, was a reception of Tre'Quan.
Yeah, exactly.
That 504 that passed Peyton Manning, that went to Tre'Quan. And I just found this out, TJ. Drew Brees' last touchdown pass in his career
Tre'Quan Smith
was a Tre'Quan.
That's what I'm saying. Like Tre'Quan, like you can say what you want. Tre'Quan Chosen. Tre'Quan is the Forrest Gump of the New Orleans Saints. You ever seen like with Forrest Gump, like he was always a part of these like significant moments in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
Tre'Quan Smith is that guy. When, like you said, when Drew Brees broke like the completion percentage record, Tre'Quan Smith caught the pass for the first down. It's amazing, like how if you go to Canton and Drew Brees jerseys, and you know how they got like the description, and it's like Drew Brees 14-yard pass to Tre'Quan Smith for the completion record. Tre'Quan Smith catches 61-yard touchdown for Drew Brees to break the like. It's crazy, but he's always going to be synonymous with the New Orleans Saints, man. No matter what happens going forward.
Yeah, he's part of Saints history, bro. And it's the fact that it's this man last touchdown. Tre'Quan is just kind of like the last laugh. Like, y'all might got me out of here, but guess what? Yeah. I'm part of y'all history. You can't tell a story. You can't tell a story.
You ain't messing with Trey Day. Trey Day gonna be here.
Nah, I'm glad you made that point, though, man. I know how we feel about Tre'Quan, but I just feel like Tre'Quan get a lot of flack because, like you say, the expectations, bro.
Right.
If somebody gonna pan out to be what you want them to be, it's kind of hard to look at them as something else other than that. I mean, we could say that about Reggie Bush. You know what I'm saying? When he came out, you know what I'm saying? He was, you know what he was, but he didn't necessarily was that, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
but like
Reggie
you say,
Bush,
it's a place.
Reggie Bush was an underachiever. And I will say it. Reggie Bush, compared to like what he was in college chosen, he was a bust. Like anybody's like Reggie Bush, his moments with the New Orleans Saints as fans, we warped our judgment about this dude. Anybody that followed Reggie Bush at USC, like we thought this dude was gonna be virtually unstoppable. But it took him like weeks to even score a touchdown. I think his first touchdown was a punt return. Like he kept on, he couldn't run, you know what I'm saying, north-south. He was always like running sideline to sideline. And a lot of people was like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? Well, he's not going to be Adrian Peterson or Barry Sanders or nothing like that. He's going to be this. I mean, but at the end of the day, Reggie Bush wasn't what he was supposed to be in the NFL.
Right.
But a lot of people,
but it still was a place for him.
Yeah.
Right. Just like you say, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned it. Is like Tre'Quan, like it's still a place for him. Like he may not be a 1, 2, or 3, but he can be a consistent 4. Because given, you know what I'm saying, given the circumstances, just trying to, I ain't gonna throw too much on him. We know what he is. We know he ain't, there's all and be all. But I mean, he been available for the most part. Like I'd rather have him than not have. I don't really want him. But if he's just available, I'd rather have him for the little stuff you do have, just for the extra depth. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, bro, he got a head start on a lot of these guys. Man, been in this system for 5, 6 years. Yep. He know the playbook. He know the system. He know the audibles. He got that going against him. So if these dudes don't grasp it, you might just end up seeing them again if they can't catch on to beat them. I ain't saying talent-wise they probably could beat them out, but what about that mental psyche? You know what I'm saying? The stuff that goes beyond playing. What about the X's and O's? Can these guys do the audibles? Can they know? Can they grasp it? You know what I'm saying?
He can play faster than most of these guys that's about to come here, and that's what people don't understand too. Anybody that played the game of football, that like learning an offensive playbook, like it's a tedious task, man. And when think about somebody just plopping the yellow pages right in front of you and say, man, you got to memorize this. You got to memorize the audibles, you know what I'm saying? Like the different concepts, the verbiage, all those things. So when you have guys that have been around, the game gets a little bit faster for them. That's why like a lot of the rookies say, man, my head's been in a whirlwind because they have to absorb so much information. Here, this guy's been around about 5 years, 5+ years trying to, you know what I'm saying, in this system. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Right. And the thing is, bro, it's like you said, and we watch these press conferences. What all the receivers say, man, this Saints playbook is kind of it's like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, especially under Sean Payton. It might be a little different with Dennis Allen and B. Carmichael, but we know what it is. But like I said, Tre'Quan, I'm not gonna say I hope the man don't make the team like from a like that. I mean, if he get beat out, I would rather replace him with something better. But if he do make the team, bro, I feel like you said, it is a place for him. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want us to just bank on like Jared been in the house that he ain't coming back. Jared all in on like,
he all in.
Don't get upset. I wouldn't be surprised if they do bring him back. And one more point, just for that reason, because he's been around, he know it. And most people rather feel like, man, I'd rather go through this with somebody I know what they're gonna give me versus outside. I know what Tre'Quan gonna give me. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'll take knowing what Tre'Quan gonna give me or not give me versus anything else with that. But like you say, Tre'Quan could be replaced for what he do. His skill set, it do need to be better. We do need to look elsewhere. But if he on this team, I would not be surprised, bro. And another thing, TJ, I know it's kind of off topic, but man, I didn't realize we didn't re-sign PJ Williams, bro. Like, what you think we gonna do about that? I wouldn't mind having PJ back. I think PJ's still on the market. I think.
Yeah, he still is on the market, man. I wouldn't mind having him back at the safety position. I think that when they converted him from corner to safety, I think it saved his career, added a couple more years onto his career and a couple contracts in the process. I like it, but I think the Saints will probably look at that situation if some of these young safeties don't pan out, like the Smoke Mondays and stuff like that. So I think the fact that we haven't heard PJ Williams' name come up could be a testament to how well these young guys are developing as pros. So could be one of those situations where, it was just we want to go younger and we can save a little money in the process.
Yeah, and I have to realize we only have 53 spots. It's just like, it's people gonna change every year. Right. And I think that's my thing, bro. You get hooked on these people and you know what they can be, but when they leave, it's like, damn, like, bro, I know what they can be for these young guys like PJ. Like I say, talent-wise, I'm not saying he better than these guys, but sometimes, bro, you gotta look outside the talent. What about the intangibles that don't have that skill set, like the mind, the mental of it? Because we know football, man, it's mental too. It ain't just all talent and physical.
Yep.
It's a mental game as well. But that's pretty much all I got, man. I'm ready to see. I'm excited for training camp. Ready to see what these boys gonna do. Ready to see if I can adjust to Shaheed weighing 22. Bro, that's crazy with this receiver thing.
Hey, I don't care if he won 22, 92. Like, long as you producing, I don't care what you wear, man.
That
but
boy
yeah,
said he want to get faster and strong. I'm like, bro, how more faster can you get? Like,
I mean, if you look at him, I gotta say this. As far as like transformations and what I seen like from photos, you can see an improvement in muscle mass and Chris Olave. You definitely can see it in Rashid Shaheed. And Cam Jordan, like, looks really, really slender right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see, like, in his face, like, you know what I'm saying, how much he slimmed down. So, man, these guys are taking it serious. And also, I think the optimism that I have when it comes to these guys that I mentioned with Olave and Shaheed, that they're young, man. And we all are looking for these guys to take that extra step. I think we believe in Michael Thomas as far as his ability. But, the injuries in the past, we are finding ourselves looking at these younger guys to be able to step up and be there, because the confidence when it comes to Mike T, we got to see it. So the fact that these guys are taking it serious is a plus, man.
One thing before I head out, with Michael Thomas, bro, I think he finally going to get it this year, because I feel like this year there's no pressure. You got Chris Olave now. You know what he's going to be. I feel like before we drafted the receiver, it was pressure to get him back because we didn't know how Chris Olave going to pan out. I think it just helped out because you got Olave, you know who he is. You got Shaheed, you know who he is. You got these other pieces. Now you can focus. You don't have to necessarily rush Michael Thomas. You can just be like, hey, man, just checking on your versions. Hey, man, you think you're going to be back? I'm going to need you to give me about woo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he finally mentally, it's not a toll on him. He can recover. I just really feel like I feel like this is it for him. Like, I feel like this is, not in the bad way, this is it, but I feel like this is that year that we're going to see that Michael Thomas that we all fell in love with, bro. And I'm rooting for this dude, bro, because it's going to be one hell of a comeback story, bro. Because everybody wrote this dude off, even our own people, bro. Trade him. He don't want to be here. Like, I just imagine all that feud, that fire that he got built up, bro. It's going to be amazing to see this man put that on display, all on the field, leaving all out. And I'm ready for this season, bro. I know I say we're ready for this season every year, but something about this season, bro, so many chips on the shoulder. Derek Carr, we're proving the Raiders and proving to himself that he belongs here. And I like the fact that he taking man, I'm not Drew Brees. I'm not trying to be Drew. I'm trying to be the best version of Carr I could be. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Allen. We know he said he a bad coach. It's time for him to right his wrongs. The storylines, bro, is unlimited. Everybody got something to prove. So I think we all gonna come together, and I think we're gonna make some noise this year, for real, bro. But thanks, TJ, bro, for having me.
All right, no problem, Chosen, man. Thank you, man. Call back anytime.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, the storylines are endless with the New Orleans Saints. But back to what Chosen was talking about with Michael Thomas, the way that I feel is, for years, like since Michael Thomas been in the league, for the exception of the year that he was alongside Brandon Cooks, he was the guy. And it was a huge drop off between him and the next receiver. And even though, if you're a wide receiver and, your overall goal is to get targets, I know he was in heaven, but at the same time, that is a lot of pressure to put on a person, and it can, affect you. You wonder to yourself, okay, man, I'm doing my thing. Where y'all at? So I think that by adding more guys in the locker room, right? Adding more guys at the wide receiver position that are capable of making plays, that are capable of giving you 100 yards, that are capable, if Mike T is getting double team, that they can go out here and win a one-on-one matchups. I think that it alleviates some of the pressure off Mike T, because if this dude out here balling out, then they got to roll coverage that way, and Mike T can eat, right? So that's how, it can be a stressful thing, and the fact that I feel like, he's more happier. It seems like, he wants to be here. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the Saints are bringing in playmakers to go alongside him so he can be able to be the Mike Thomas that he needs to be in order to make the Saints successful offensively. So I am very, very confident in Mike T. And, and I like what the Saints did, by adding some help. It's been long overdue at the wide receiver position. Keen Arthur, what's going on, man? It says, TJ, barring injury, do you see us fighting for a top 3 spot in the NFC? Well, look, do I think the Saints have the capability, Keen Arthur, to be a top 3 NFC team? No, I do not. No, I don't. Well, let me take that back. Do I feel like they have what it takes? Yes. Do I feel like they will? No, I do not. I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Saints. I feel like the Cowboys are better than the Saints. I feel like the 49ers are better than the Saints. I feel like the Seahawks are better than the Saints. I feel like there's some teams that are out there right now that are going to be building up the momentum that they had last season. Now, I feel like the Saints are going to be in contention because the schedule makers did them a service by providing them with a schedule with teams that were losing records. So in that regard, then I feel like it can help them be a top 3 team. But I would be a homer, and I'll be sitting up here just telling you all that the Saints are a top 3 team, because I'm from New Orleans and I've been rooting for this team since I can remember. But I'm not going to do that. I feel like it's still a uphill battle for the New Orleans Saints because they have a lot of really good teams out here that are better than them. And the Saints are going to have to prove it. Now, can the Saints compete with any of those teams that I named? Absolutely. If they was to go to the playoffs and have to play one of those teams, do I feel like the Saints can beat them? Yes. But I got to give those teams the respect because I just feel like they're better. But that doesn't mean that the New Orleans Saints can't be there in the end. That's just the way I feel about it. Let's see. If we stay healthy, we should have a monster season. I agree with that. I agree. It's about staying healthy. That's the main issue. The injury guys were not good to the New Orleans Saints over the last 3 years. Thus the reason why the Saints have been in a position that they've been in for the last 3 years. So hopefully the New Orleans Saints can be able to overcome some of that in order for them to be in playoff contention. And if you get to the playoffs, then we all know, there's a chance that you can make it to the big game in Vegas. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. I ask that you hit the subscription button, subscribe to the channel. Also hit the like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast and the content. Also check out previous episodes of the State of the Saints podcast on iHeart, Spotify, Megaphone FM. Check it out, while you're working out, while you're jogging, while you're out and about. You can check out the audio version of the State of the Saints podcast on all streaming platforms. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at TJAYJones8. I interact like during Saints games. I interact during training camp, giving my perspective. Feel free to follow me on social media. Thank you so much. If this is your first time checking out the State of the Saints podcast, We are a very interactive podcast. We have a lot of fun. We keep it respectful. We keep it clean here. And it's all about having a good time and talking about our favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. But till next time, thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?
Praise God, bro.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.